Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue our journey in learning just a little bit more of this amazing language. Yesterday, we talked about the phenomenon or the way to express somebody who is eloquent, who has a sharp teeth. And the sharp teeth doesn't mean somebody who's effectively eating things. It's not like a predator's sharp teeth, but predator in the sense of preying on thoughts of other people. So if somebody who is sharp-tongued, that means somebody who can defend or win an argument easily because the response is so fast and the attitude is so assertive, right? So today we're going to continue with Ling Li. They oftentimes appear together. So they are a team. Ling Li, we often use them together. And you can see we have three exactly same pronunciation pairs of Ling Li, but in different characters. And they have a slightly different, in some cases, a bigger difference between, they have different distances in meaning, basically. So Ling Li, they are closer. This Ling Li and this Ling Li are closer simply by, okay, we share the same elements in there, right? So at least they are like a quarter, shared a quarter information together. But I find it's interesting to show you three versions of Ling Li. On the air, they sound exactly the same. And in our verbal language, it's totally contextual that you can, because we didn't write it out. So how can you tell which pair of Ling Li we're using in that context? Exactly, you can only tell by the context itself. So if you say somebody who is Ling Li, depending on the context, what you talked before that, then you can decide, okay, is this Ling Li or this or used in that exact spot. So that's the charm and also the mystery, the torture, the pain of Chinese. We have limited way of pronouncing things. Even if we add 4 tonations, still the same tone, same pronunciation can have 3 different groupings of characters to go with it. Amazing, right? Okay, so Ling Li in this phrase, I translated a cold and a scold. Okay, it came from this weather condition. In last episode, wait, did we talk about that? In the last episode? Sorry, I was kind of blanking out. If not last, the one before the last one, we talked about Han, 唇王齿寒. Yeah, it's the episode before that. 唇王齿寒 has this Han character that at the bottom is the coldness that's seeping in to the household. That's how we express the hay covered person in this under this shelter, still very cold, because that's the time before the air conditioning, domestic heating thing. So in wintertime, that's the natural response, how we defend ourselves from coldness. And this two almost like human figure thing next to each other, they are actually expressing this chill, this weather condition that's seeping into the room. And here on the side, they simply mean something icy over there. So I guess we can view them as frozen water, right? Icy is frozen water. So they came from the water origin, but it's written as a separate, as a discontinued frozen. So it's a discontinued water. It's not in a flowing state, definitely not in a continued stream like a river. So even if the same element is in different form, so that is an indicator of the temperature. It's not about the water. Here, it totally indicates the temperature. It's chill, that things are frozen up. It's discontinued water. Okay, the right side, we have this bottom, looks like a person walking backwards, sticking out the one leg ahead of the other. So if you try to walk backwards, that's what your legs would do. One leg will sticking out in full length, directly outside, because your knee can only bend forward, cannot bend backwards like a bird do. So bird does. So this is the way humans walk backward. And here, the top portion is something standing tall. That's a symbol of something standing tall. So first impression is like, okay, this is something with some space in between, right? Stacking up, and something else standing on top of that. And this something else, we see that symbol often, right? It means grass, it means plant. So some plant on top of some structure over there, right? Because our plant symbol often paired with each other. So when they show, oftentimes they show in pairs. That's the grass symbol, because very rarely grass are, singular. It's multitudes, a patch of them, right? But if it shows just singular, it means standing tall, just like the grass, just like a plant. Plants are growing anti-gravity. So they're growing upward toward the sky, not toward the ground. They come from the ground, but growing upward. So if one symbol of that means something is upward pointing, upward. And this middle part is kind of a mountain, the top of the mountain, or the top of something. Okay, according to some scholar, now I recall. Okay, this is human figure, right? So if this is separated, it's a human figure still, but with this arch or this horizontal line connecting, that means the top portion of a human. So basically, it's like here. Because language are used by humans mostly, right? So we measure things, if things are tall or short, by our own height. Naturally, we are the yardstick because we're there. And this top portion, like right on the top portion of your head, either here, like without depicting the head part, but at least above your torso, above your two leg thing, right? You have your two legs sticking out, but then it's above that. That's the positioning in relative to a human height. So that means it's the top portion of something, and it's upstanding. So both of them stacking up together, it means something tall in higher elevation. And in higher elevation, and this person is going backward. It's almost like mountaineering, climbing or scaling up a tall standing, they call it a big wall, a big mountain thing. So the whole, like the tall thing requires a person to go backward, or stick out leg long, that kind of climbing. The whole right side, these symbols together means something tall. Okay, so now paired with this iciness, frozen water, that means that in higher elevation, it's colder than the ground level, right? So we gave you the condition of cold, and we gave you the result of cold. It's frozen water, and because it's higher elevation. So it's a kind of higher elevation kind of coldness. So that's cold. The right side, I mean, this word li, scold, came from this upper left framer, like this. That's high ground. And oftentimes we use that to mean the edge of a mountain. So it's kind of a cliff. So here is a high ground, it's like a cliff. And when we have a cliff in a character, it's often used to mean something related to mountains, something related to stone. So stone, actually stone, the character of stone definitely have this portion in there. So it's something related to stone. And then we have 3-finger hand symbol, a pair of them. You see that? It looks claws, almost like 3 of them. And then there is this weird structure, almost like a full circle, except there is a gap over there. Almost like a full circle with a cross. We often see that symbol, right? Full circle with a cross in the middle. That means stop sign. For humans, contemporary like icon reading or symbol understanding, that means stop. I don't know what ancient Chinese creators, when they came up with the symbol, what that means. Like circle, things are circular, not that commonly seen. And a circle with a cross, diagonal, not commonly seen. So this diagonal paired with circle, not common at all. So there is a mystery. I don't know. I don't even attempt to explain. To me right now, it's unexplainable. But the language scholars, to explain the whole thing, it's something related to stone. And your hand have to work on it. So they explain it as the type of stone, kind of like a sandstone, that you use to sharpen your knife. So with that kind of sandstone, its main function is to sharpen things, actually sharpen the knife, sharpen the weaponry, or a sickle to cut off the grass or crop, right? So sharpen. So this sharpen. Use on knife is to sharpen. Use on person is to make you sharp, right? And when do we do as a parent to make a child sharper? Oftentimes that's to scold them, to give them negative feedback, to tell them, no, this is wrong. And sometimes the attitude can be, I mean, contemporary parenting tell parents to be firm but kind, right? But I guess in ancient times, that's not exist. If you made a mistake, it's a pretty negative feedback. So that's the kind of scold. That's how it came into being. So 伶俐 together, it means somebody whose attitude is cold, as if it's in higher elevation, icy cold, and while scolding somebody, while disciplining somebody. So that's 伶俐. Okay, this 伶俐, as we had it on last episode, is about music conductor that's giving orders. This triangle means the power structure, and the side view hunching kneeling human figure means a submissive person. So authority, authority, or ruler, ruled. This gives you the power structure of the power giving, power receiving, or power having, power have not. You know, two-dimensional world of the authority and the government over there. So the whole thing is about the dynamic of giving orders. And we paired it with this person symbol is music conductor back then, who were hired by some upper class back then to give them private live concerts, and that person have to be able to conduct, to giving instructions to all the musicians so that everybody chime in harmoniously to produce music to entertain the rich. Okay, so that's 伶. And the Li has this person figure on the left side, and the right side means the knife, which has the handle, one edge, the other edge, cutting off the riping. So this is a ripe fruit or wheat, some crop image of the whole thing. So cutting it off. So it gives you the harvesting season practice. That's manual harvesting with a sickle to cut off crops. And to do that efficiently, because there's only a very short time window to harvest before it rains or something ruined your year's working, right? That harvesting have to be done with super sharp sickles. And that sharpness is captured in this harvesting practice. Paired with person means sharp person, sharp-tongued person, assertive, sharp, 伶俐 together, just like 伶牙俐齿 in exactly that phrase. It gives you the concrete of where does 伶俐 comes from. It's come from the 牙 and the 齿, the lips and the mouth and the teeth. 牙 and 齿, sorry, both of them are teeth. So we use teeth to mean some verbal, eloquent, debating situation when you use a lot of almost like teethy, very teethy involvement, combative talking to win the debate, right? So that's kind of 伶俐. It's interpersonal. You have to have an opponent to show your sharpness. That's 伶俐. Okay, in versus this 伶俐, it's beautiful. Okay, in contemporary Chinese, when we see this, this character relates something spiritual. And I never think about like why there's fire in there, like what this thing is. Okay, so this thing is a simplification of this symbol. And this symbol came from the rain. The top portion is the rain. Okay, the horizontal line is heaven. And then the vertical line is something coming down from heaven. Okay, and then there is this big arch. That means the space between heaven and the earth. And then there's this two, like 4 horizontal flying dot. They are raindrops. So raining is the major weather condition that determines the crop, the harvesting. So raining is a major thing that's on the mind, on the desires of ancient farmer society, right? So 3 mouths of there, almost like you can imagine it as a choir, ancient time, to sing to the heaven so that it can rain and bring harvest, good season to the land. So that's basically the practice of singing to heaven to please them, to catch attention to the heaven, so that you can get your rain. And the bottom is our jade trading, like blown up view of a jade. I mean, in proportion, it couldn't be bigger than 3 people standing together, right? So it's out of proportion. But this 3 horizontal lines connected by 1 vertical line is the jade in a stack stringed together. And the jade are probably made into discs as a measurement. So jade was prized precious stone currency placeholder. So I guess you can, besides trade with gold and silver, jade was also a prized gemstone back then. So jade as an offering to the god of rain. And the choir, the mouths means multiple people, not just necessarily 3, singing in chorus to pray for the rain. So this is almost like the occasion to depicting this in this picture of depicting who is using what for what. It's humans, it's using jade, kind of a bribing, right? The best things they can come up with to pray for rain. So the purpose and who is there and what they are using. The whole ceremony was depicted right there. And that, to me, as a spirituality, like that probably serves the primary function of what spirituality is about. It's about you connecting the human society, the human desires and need, which is harvesting, with the heavenly, something beyond your understanding and control. And you can only humbly pray and offering the best you can offer that run in your human society, which is the jade, kind of like a gold placeholder replacer, right? Equivalent. Then that's your practice. Like you try to understand the intention of this heavenly, rain governing superpower for your benefit. So that's Ling, and the Ling in this context paired with sharpness of harvesting. That means you have a quick understanding, like a heavenly understanding, understand or in tune with nature, in tune with when it's rain or shine, right? So it's Ling almost like a spiritually or super connected to your environment so that you make the right decision in the right weather condition. So that's Ling. That means you have a good understanding and in harmony with nature. And sharp, simply like you act quickly. You can get things done quick. So, okay, here's my translation. 伶俐, the first one, cold scold means fierce. That's the attitude from one person to the other person, to another person. And 伶俐 means smart. I translate it as smart. That means somebody who is very good with words, have a way of words, can express themselves and defend and debate effectively. That's 伶俐, and it can only be actualized between persons. So you have to have an opponent to show your smartness, basically. And 伶俐, the last one, I translate as bright. That means somebody who can quickly learn the environment and make the right decision and act quickly. So that's the definition equivalent of bright. So I just use this interesting optical, almost illusion kind of picture to show sometimes when we describe some person who has a clarity, who has a sharp understanding of the situation, like before anybody even understand what's coming at them, and they have a good sense of what's going on, have a good grasp of them, even if in time of such, disorienting, like how come this black comes to here and that white comes to here, right? There is this, later on in physics, we can explain these optical phenomena, like how that happens. But this kind of gives you the sense of, glass of water. It has some reflection going on and some deflection. So things are not what you see as is, right? So you have to go to the second layer to discover the underlying or underpinnings of things. So that's 凌厉. Basically, I'm trying to capture what is bright. It's to understand things quickly and respond or act quickly in the right way, in suitable of the situation. And that seems to be very suitable for today's environment in 2023. Okay, here we go. 凌厉, 凌厉, and 凌厉. Cash into the currency of thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.